Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the final part of Digital Dynamite. Today, we will talk about the big launch. And in my experience, this is where a lot of people glitch. This is where all of our limiting beliefs come rushing over us. This is the part where we all tend to go into self doubt. This is when, in my experience, this is the most vulnerable part of the process because in all the other stages of course creation you can do stuff, that doing stuff will bring certain results. And when you start selling your stuff, this is the most ultimate place of vulnerability. And for most of you, if you've never sold anything online, the first time you hear this part of the course, you're going to be like, I don't understand what's the big deal about. But trust me, once you create your course and once you are ready to roll it out, you may want to come back to this module and watch it over and over again. From my experience, I've had 12 businesses, 7 yoga studios, a juice bar, an online platform. I have a hotel, a retreat center. And I'll tell you guys that from my experience of being spiritual entrepreneur, owning multiple businesses, being a serial entrepreneur, none of my businesses challenged me as much as this portion of the course, the selling my online classes. Because to me, this is literally was testing my faith, testing my belief in myself and putting myself in the most vulnerable place. And my wish for you that you have a different experience than me. And this is one of the reasons why I've created this course. And this is one of the reasons why I'm going to share with you all the tools that have helped me along the way. So this stage of the process goes so much easier for you. So that is my sincerest wish to you. So today we're going to talk about selling from your soul. And like I said, this is where a lot of people start glitching. We will do the clearing, right? Clearing those glitching, clearing our limiting beliefs so that we can bring our offering into the world with effortless ease, with faith, with trust, and 100% unwavering belief in ourselves. And then the second thing that I want to talk to you today is the particulars, right? The actual how to roll out your strategy, how to create your strategy, how to execute on that strategy. And I'll share with you my way of launching my courses. And I'm going to lean on those things that were really, really successful in the last 2 years that I've started my online business, my success coaching online, and offering my online courses to the world. So, before we jump into the content, I would like for us to ground down and spend a couple of minutes in meditating. And many of you have been with me through many, many different courses. And you know that I get so excited about the greatest and the latest. And I recently discovered a 2 millimeter adjustment that helps me shift into a better inner state instantaneously. And you can use this process not only when you need to ground down, but also it's one of the most effective way of clearing your glitches. So in the last week or so, I've been doing this process over and over and over, and it's been really helpful to me. What it is combining three different practices together into one: EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping. Remember, EFT is an intersection of modern day psychology and acupressure. It's tapping different parts of your body and sending signals to your amygdala to relax, right? This is when you literally get to relax. calm down, ground down. And when that happens, you get to acknowledge all of your feelings. So the stressful thoughts, the stressful feelings can pass on. You can let go of whatever is stressing you out. And a lot of times when you do that, you create an opening. You experience an epiphany, right? This is a moment when, to me, the divinity starts talking to me, because I get to connect with that universal, that bigger power, so much bigger than me. So it's combining EFT tapping with Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is it's the ancient Hawaiian prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So the words are really powerful. They have a powerful clearing power. They have a powerful grounding down power, clearing as in clearing the stressful thoughts. And also Ho'oponopono, the simple prayer, is one of the most powerful manifesting tools as well. And the third practice that I'm going to teach you today is combining three practices. It comes from the guy by the name of Bob Wakins, I think. And he was born with a gift of seeing energy. And the way he sees energy is in different colors. So what he's saying is that Ho'oponopono is really powerful, but you have to do it for a really long time in order for it to have an effect. That's his opinion. So what he says that it's Ho'oponopono is much more powerful when you visualize the colors as you say, I love you, as you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. So we're combining these three practices together. And before we go into that, I need to set you up a little bit. So, a lot of times I don't like to go into like, well, but how does it work? Explain to me exactly how it works. I'm a very like I like to experience stuff, right? So if my inner guidance, my inner hearing and intuition says, Albina, go and try. If I'm interested in something, I'm just going to go and do it. And then I'm going to judge based on my own experience. So I don't like to go into all the reasons why. But some of you like to hear the reasons and you like to understand why we do certain things. So according to Bob, I love you is the color blue. He has a gift of seeing colors. To me, I just trust the guy and I envision blue. It feels good to me. Um, I love you. I'm sorry is color white. And the way I see it is a really vibrant, warm, feel good white. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me is green. If you connect with the chakras, right? They connect to the chakra colors. Green is a heart chakra. Thank you is purple. So let us do this process together as a way to ground down and clear anything that needs clearing at this moment. You don't have to fully understand or even name whatever needs clearing. Just trust the process. Trust that this practice is extremely powerful. I've been playing with it for a week, and at this point, you guys know that I tend to take things 150%. So I went ahead and got a certification in this in this thing. So straight out of the oven, fresh out of the oven for you. It's called dang, I forgot what the certification. The program has a name, but I forgot. It doesn't matter. So here it is. So sit up tall. Take a deep breath and just internally trust the process. So before you form any sort of opinions about this process, just go through the experience and then feel how it feels like in your body, how it feels energetically, emotionally, spiritually to you. So as you breathe deeply, start tapping at the eyebrows and envision the most vibrant, the most beautiful shade of blue. And whatever you see right now, just trust your inner guidance, trust your intuition, Trust your creativity. So as you're tapping at the eyebrows, envision blue and internally say, I love you. I love you. I love you. Tapping at the corners of your eyes, I love you. Breathe deeply. Breathe in this most beautiful shade of blue into your body, into every single part of you, filling up every cell, every particle, every atom in your body with blue. Tapping under your eye. Breathe deeply. I love you. I love you. I love you. Tap under your nose. Breathe deeply. I love you. And know that I love you connects you to the divine. Instantaneous connection to the divine. Breathe in blue. Envision your whole body being surrounded by the most vibrant, beautiful shade of blue. Tap under your mouth. I love you. I love you. I love you. Tap under your collarbones. I love you. Breathe in this most beautiful shade of blue down into your pelvis, relaxing your hip joints, your belly, luxuriating in this beautiful color blue. I love you. Tapping under your arm. I love you. I love you. I love you. Tap at the crown of your head. Breathe in blue. I love you. I love you. I love you. And gently stop tapping. Take a deep breath in. Notice what you're feeling. Perhaps you're feeling more grounded, more calm, more connected. And start tapping at the eyebrows, internally saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Tap at the sides of your eyes. Breathe in, I am sorry. And envision color blue, color white, white. So breathing in this most warm, feel good, white light into your body. Envision, feel yourself being surrounded by white. Tap under your eyes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Tapping under your nose as you say, I'm sorry. Trust that you take 100% responsibility for all the experiences in your life. And when you take 100% responsibility, you get 100% power. Breathe that in. Tap under your mouth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Tap under your collarbones. Feel white. See white. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Tap under your arm. I am sorry. Breathe in this vibrant, warm, feel good white light into your body, filling up every single atom, every single organ in your body with white. Tap at the crown of your head. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And gently stop tapping. Take a deep breath in. Feel what you're feeling. And start tapping at the eyebrows. Internally say, please forgive me. And envision color green. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Tap at the sides of your eyes. Breathe in green. Relax as you exhale. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Tapping under your eyes. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Tapping under your nose. Please forgive me. And know when you say, please forgive me, you receive the gift of forgiveness. Tapping under your mouth, please forgive me. Take a deep breath in, breathing in green. Imagine, feel yourself filling up with color green. Envision yourself being surrounded by green. Please forgive me. Tapping at the collarbones, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Tapping under your arm, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Tap at the crown of your head. Breathe deeply. Feel your body relax and soften. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. And gently stop tapping. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and let go of any tension, any stress, any doubt, any glitches. Letting all that stuff go and relaxing your physical body. Tap at the eyebrows. And as you quietly, internally say thank you, envision purple. Thank you. Thank you. Tap at the sides of your eyes. Breathe in purple. Breathe in a deep sense of gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tapping under your eyes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tapping under your nose. Thank you. Envision purple. Thank you. Thank you. Under your mouth. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tap under your collarbones. Breathe deeply. See yourself being surrounded in this beautiful shade of purple. Thank you. Thank you. Tapping under your arm. Thank you. Thank you. Tapping at the crown of your head. Thank you. Thank you. And gently stop tapping. Take a deep breath in. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So this is my latest favorite meditation that combines Ho'oponopono, emotional freedom technique, and envisioning these different colors that, according to Bob, amplify the vibration of these magical words of Ho'oponopono. All right. So let us talk about selling. And when I say selling, what I mean is selling from your soul. And so many of us glitch so much around selling and around money. So most of us actually never pause to reflect about selling or reflect about money. And yet, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your energetic vibration is around selling and money, that is what the physical or material world reflects or mirrors back to you. So, if you believe that somehow selling is sleazy, selling is annoying, selling is, you know, pushy, then people will experience you as sleazy, pushy, and annoying. If you believe that you have to work really hard to make money, you're going to have to work really hard to make money. This is the law of attraction. This is how this universe works. If you believe on some level, even if it's subconsciously or unconsciously, that you will never make enough money through this work, trust me, you will never make enough money through this work. If you believe that people will judge you for selling online, guess what? people will judge you for selling online. So just trust that this is, this is the way this world works. Everything is made out of energy. So your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, your internal vibration about whatever it is will be reflected or mirrored back at you by your physical reality. Are you with me? If you're with me, give me some jazz hands. So I see that I'm making sense right now. This is why, I said it before and I'll say it again. This is why I think this part of the course is the most important part of the course, because I can teach you the how. I can teach you how to create a sales page. I can teach you how to set up your website. I can teach you how to set up your Facebook ads. I can teach you PayPal and Aweber integration and landing page and lead generators. I can teach you all the how to, the practical stuff. And if your energetic vibration, if your inner belief system is glitch, 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 it's going to be very challenging for you to succeed. This is why, you guys, I literally spent 3 years. Every day I was clearing my own crap. Because once I sold Yoga One, once I sold my 7 yoga studios, I went through, I don't know what you want to call it, an emotional crisis, a midlife crisis. I don't know what you want to call it, but I spent a lot of time soul searching. I traveled around the world for a year, and all I did is search within me because first I needed to figure out what's next for Albina Rippey. But then secondly, I was like, well, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way, an easier way to not only live out my higher purpose, but also, you know, step into financial freedom and abundance. So this is what, in a way, I'm sharing with you the product of my 3 years of self inquiry, examination of my own internal beliefs, and I package it up in such a way that hopefully will help you get there much quicker. It will take you much less time than me. Let us take a deep, deep breath in. So, just trust me that it's possible that at this point during the course, if you've never offered anything online, you may not even fully understand what I'm talking about. And you can always come back to this portion of the course when you are ready to sell it, when you're ready to launch it. And right now, this can be applied to whatever it is that you do. If you're teaching yoga, if you own your own business, if you are in your career, in your vocation, the things that I'm talking about can be applied to whatever it is that you do at this moment in your life. It can be expanded to all areas of your life. So just pause about and think about this. Every single one of you is here in this course, in this Digital Dynamite course, and all the other courses that you've been with me so far, because I relentlessly talked about my offerings. I talk about my offerings every single day. I talk about it in person. I talk about it on social media. I talk about it in my emails. I talk about it in my Facebook and Instagram ads. So I constantly talk about whatever it is that I'm offering into the world. And because I did that, you saw my posts, you heard me talk about it, and you signed up for these courses. And I don't have to ask. I know that I provided massive value through these courses. If you had the experience that these courses that you took in the last 6 months have like contributed so much to your well-being, give me some jazz hands so I can see. Yeah, what I believe about my courses is my courses, the stuff that I offer is life-changing stuff. I am 100% certain that everything that I teach can change lives. And the reason why I know that, the reason why I have absolute certainty about that is because this stuff completely transformed my life. And because I feel so passionate about it, I have no glitches around offering it into the world. I know that this stuff changes lives because it changed my own life. And the way I see it is that the divine, the universe, God has blessed me with so many miracles, with so many blessings, that it is my duty to share this knowledge with everybody who will listen. And as a matter of fact, I'll share it even with people who won't listen, because I know that some people's lives are going to be so exponentially better if they listen to the stuff, if they learn the stuff, because it made my stuff exponentially better. Do you know what I mean? And it took me 3 years to get to this point, clearing all my internal beliefs. Because in order for you to speak with passion from your heart about your offerings every single day, it requires you to step into your creativity, right, and create from your heart. In order to have the stamina, in order to have the resourcefulness, the resilience to do that every single day, you must find your internal leverage to do it. So, my internal leverage is that it is my duty, it is my obligation to share this knowledge with as many people around the world as they will listen, because this is me paying the stuff back. And I deeply believe that, on some level, the universe, the divine is doing, working its magic through me in my own unique way, with an accent and occasional cuss words and mispronouncing stuff and forgetting stuff. And in my own imperfect way, I am serving you guys from my heart. So this is how I see it. Um, and if you look at other areas of your life, whatever it is that you've ever done, like many of you practice yoga, right? You came to yoga for the first time because somebody sold you yoga for the first time, and that yoga experience, that first yoga class, changed your life. If you have read a book, let's say, for example, that was so life changing to you that you had so many epiphanies, consider that somebody sold you that book initially. So, whatever it is that was life changing for you, that delivered really amazing experiences to you, somebody sold that to you. Are you with me? That's the reason why you learned through that, about that, whatever that thing, the book, the course, the experience, because somebody sold it to you. So I never see selling as selling. I never see selling as something pushy or sleazy. Rather, I see selling as my way of telling the world what I have to offer. It's the way I share my gift with the world. And I know that it comes from deep within my soul, from deep in my heart, because ultimately, all I want is to share this knowledge with other people. I want to serve other people. So I never sit down and think about, like, oh, how can I make money? I never sit down and think about how can I make more money. It's never like that. So we're gonna, last time Laura asked about pricing, and we're gonna talk today about pricing. So I never think about money first. Um, Instead, I always, I get an inspiration. I become really passionate about a subject. And as soon as I get that inspiration, immediately I take action. So I am so excited. I'm so inspired. I'm so like lit up about whatever course that I am birthing. Um, and that is ultimately what's driving me. Usually it's something like today, EFT with Ho'oponopono and all these colors. This is brand new. I just learned about it a week ago. I got certified in this stuff, and I'm sharing it to you because it's been like so helpful to me in the last week or so. And in a moment, I'm going to tell you why. There's been a really challenging week for me. This stuff works, and this stuff works really, really quickly. It works fast. So I'm always driven by the inspiration, by the idea, And like I said earlier, I take immediate action right away. I just put things into motion because I never wait until it's perfect. I never wait until it's fully finalized and ready to go. I create as I go. And a lot of times I start going, and then inevitably I have moments of self doubt or fear. But because this thing is already in motion, I don't have a way out. Do you know what I mean? I already put things in motion. People are already signing up for my stuff. So I cannot back out. This is another way I kind of I prevent myself from backing out of whatever it is that I want to do. Are you with me? So since we're talking about money, even though I never think about it, well, how much money? How can I make money? What I also want to say that money is a big part of it because ultimately you are selling things, right? And as soon as money gets involved, it becomes a business. Now, I work with many people who are artists, right? Yoga teachers, yoga studio owners, um, people who are sharing their gifts with the world. And because a lot of times these people are super passionate about sharing their gifts with the world, and they forget that as soon as money is involved, it becomes a business. And they forget that running a business requires certain skills, it requires certain level of integrity, it requires ethics, and it requires action, right? So let's talk about pricing because Laura asked about pricing last time, and I actually sat down to think about, well, how do I price things? And I've mentioned to you that I tend to price my offerings on the lower end. I have always done that. When I ran 7 yoga studios, we were the cheapest yoga studio in town. Um, I'm going to talk about Facebook groups, but I'll tell you a little bit later today. But I'll tell you that today I'm in a Facebook group for bed and breakfast owners. And I actively participate in it. And I'll tell you why in a moment, why I actively participate in these different Facebook groups. One of the people made a post in the bed and breakfast owners Facebook group that since the pandemic, in the last 7 months, she only had 5 bookings in her bed and breakfast. And she's struggling. She's not making any money. And it's been the most challenging year ever. And she's just like really struggling. And she's considering dropping prices. So she's asking people what to do. I'm like, girl, I dropped my prices at my bed and breakfast back in May when we reopened. I dropped my prices 30%. And because I dropped my prices 30%, we've been 100% occupancy for the last 7 months. Monday through Sunday, we're at 100% occupancy because I pivoted and I dropped prices. So then there was all these people saying you should never drop prices, blah, 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 blah. The rule of thumb is blah, 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 blah. But I don't care what the rule of thumb is. Whenever I price anything, I listen with my inner hearing and intuition. So I listen to what the experts say and I take it into account. I see what is happening in the industry, right? I'm not like totally oblivious and disconnected from the world. And in the end of the day, I listen to the expert. I see what's going on in the industry. And in the end of the day, I always price things based on my intuition and inner hearing. Um, so on one hand, there are a lot of things that I give away for free. I'm going to talk a little bit later today about all the stuff, all the content that I give away for free. So, on one hand, it's that. On the other hand, I also know that people, sadly, don't value things that they receive for free. So, there is a famous saying that I learned from Tony Robbins who says, People, if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. And from my own life, I know that things that I got for free, I don't value it as much as the things that I paid money for. Are you with me? Give me some jazz hands. You know, anything from like my mom used to give me like all these fancy shoes and fancy purses, and I never really valued and treasured them as much as when I myself buy myself a pair of fancy shoes. Are you with me? All those courses that I often sign up for, like freebies, and most of the time I don't even watch the freebies because I never paid money for it. So if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. And I always tell this story. Back in the day when I had my 7 yoga studios, we used to have Saturday and Sunday 8 a.m. classes that were taught by our teachers in training. And for years, those classes were free. And we advertised them as in, I forget what they were called, but they were classes, they were free classes. And we said, these are the classes taught by teachers in training. Please be patient with them. Please be compassionate. They're learning. And those classes would have like 100 people in them. Saturday and Sunday morning. But inevitably, after every class, people would go on Yelp, people would go on Google reviews and write really crappy reviews saying, oh, the instructor sucked. Oh, the instructor doesn't know what they're talking about. You know, they're just saying nonsense. They're really shit instructor. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know that this person is just learning to be a teacher. What the heck? You didn't pay anything for the class. And yet you went online and wrote like this crap review. So then we did an experiment. We said those classes will be $5. We call them $5 fire classes. And the moment we started charging just $5 for that class, I kid you not, after those classes, people would go online and say, oh, that was the best class. Even though the teacher is just learning, they're fresh out of the teacher training, that was the best class of my life. It was incredible. I kid you not, there is something about our psychology that if we don't pay, if we get something for free, we just don't value it. So I also realized that I said things that are in direct opposite of each other, right? I said I provide a lot of content for free. I drop the prices, but I also say that when when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. Are you with me? So they are contradicting concepts, and this is why, to me, pricing is just like yoga. It's just like life. It's a constant dance. And the way I dance this dance is by listening to my intuition and inner hearing. And at the same time, my belief has always been, and I'm not saying like make it your own belief, you can do your pricing the way you see fit, but I have always lowered my prices. My prices have always been on the lower side because I prefer more people coming into my classes, making my offerings more affordable to as many people as possible. So when we talk about pricing, just know that I tend to go on the lower end of the spectrum. There are also schools of thoughts that say that it's much easier to sell a higher price items to fewer people and they're going to value it more. I understand that logic, and maybe for you it will make sense. I just tend to make it lower in price and make it affordable to as many people as possible. So let me pause right now and see if you have any questions about pricing. So I know there wasn't like a black and white answer to this question about pricing. Ultimately, listen to your intuition, see what other people are doing in the industry, but offer your pricing from the heart. Now, I'm going to teach you some tricks that will help your conversion when it comes to pricing, because it is important. We're going to talk about it in a moment. Ultimately, always listen to your inner hearing. Sam, did you have a question? Go ahead.
So, do you have some sort of, I mean, I'm not asking for like a formula or something, but do you have some sort of like ratio of like free to paid content that you try to, or is it just kind of like the the dance?
Yeah, some people say, some people,
Like
uh,
I'm literally starting from zero. So I'm just kind of
yeah,
curious what would you say like, should I do like three 60-second videos that are free and then like one 5-minute video that's paid, or like is, you know what I mean?
yeah. So I just had a thought and then I lost it.
Sorry.
I'll tell you how I started with my online offerings. I started by putting out a crap ton of free content, tons of free content. Um, so free yoga videos, free meditations, free videos on this, and that. I recorded tons of stuff that I threw out there for free, stuff that really inspired me, stuff that was life changing to me. And this is one of the reasons, one of the ways I started building my email list and my following. So, in the beginning, as you're establishing, so to speak, your expertise in any area, I think it makes sense for you to offer a lot of stuff for free and set it up as lead generators, right? So, also, it's a way for you to kind of iron out the kinks, take out the kinks, because it's going to take you a little while to figure out how to what best videos are more engaging or get more views, right? What people like and things like that. So this is how I started. Lots of free content, and then I was like, okay, well, at some point I need to make money, right? It's a law of circulation. I put energy out there. The more I give, the more I receive. At some point, I started charging stuff started charging money for stuff. So then I was like, okay, this is just me speaking out loud. My very first course that I rolled out was the Rockstar Yoga Studio Owner course. And this is the course, it has, I think, 5 modules. This is the course where I literally summarized everything I know about starting, growing, expanding, and eventually selling a yoga empire. That shit is worth tons of money. This is me learning all of my learning from the last 10 years of my life. And I can say with pride that I kick ass at yoga business. You just don't wake up like that. So I was like, this is something that I'm really good at. So I'm going to take you through the process. They're like, what are you really good at? So as I looked at my whole life, I was like, I'm really good at the yoga business stuff. So I created this course. And this is a course that like helped me create a yoga empire. So this stuff was worth gold in my opinion. So I priced it at $2,000. That was the most expensive course I've ever offered. So I'm like, because I provide so much value, and potentially people who go through that course can make millions of dollars if they really listen to what I'm saying. So that course I priced at $2,000. Now, there were other courses like Manifest Money course that I was like, oh my gosh, this course is actually worth even more money. But I priced it at $33 because I was like, everybody needs this stuff because it's all about energy. Is this helping at all, Sam?
It's helping. Can I ask another question though?
Yeah.
So you said basically what I just heard was that you released a bunch of free content for some time frame and then you released this teacher training thing, right?
Yoga Studio.
Yoga Fire.
Yoga Studio course was my first course.
Okay, the yoga studio course, the first paid one. So how much time are we talking about? A year worth of free content? 6 months? 2 weeks? Like how,
Um,
when you started releasing the free content, how much time went by until you released that first paid thing?
so probably 2 years. I'm not
Okay.
saying you need to do it that way. I had the freedom to do that because I was traveling around the world. I also just sold my massive business for a lot of money. So I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted to, just play around for a year. I'm not saying do it the way I did it, but it makes sense to roll out free content first, build your email list, build your following, and then start offering courses, paid courses. You can also do it simultaneously, right? Some content will be free content and some content will be free paid content. So you can do it at the same time. But what I'm saying is, even though I rolled out a bunch of free content in the beginning, the very first course that I rolled out was very expensive. I didn't just go and play with like $50 courses. I rolled out a $2,000, maybe it was a $3,000 course. I mean, I charge a lot of money for it.
Could
I knew I
you
was
just
charging a
just
lot of
for the
money.
sake of conversation, could you say like roughly how many people you had in your email list at that point when you released that big paid content, the first one?
I only had like 100 people on my list.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, only 100 people. And I'll tell you, this is so, was so, I was like, dang, I'm so good at this. This stuff, this shit is worth gold. Like, I wish somebody taught me that when I first started my yoga studio. I thought all of that stuff. And I was like, my goal was like, I'm going to make $50,000 in my first course. That was my internal thinking because, like, I kick ass at this. I never have any problems with around my content because I know I provide content. So I sold like, I got $15,000 in my first course and I was devastated. I kid you not. I was like, oh my gosh, I suck. Nobody wants my offerings. Like, nobody values what I have to offer. Nobody wants to listen to what I have to offer. And this is the best thing that I've ever done in my life. I went down that road, and this is why I'm saying, like, whatever your inner state is so important. I went into self-lynching. Guys, I made 15 grand on my first course. I thought like everybody makes a lot of money on the first course. And then my husband actually set me down, and because he watched it, and he was like, what the hell is wrong with you? You made $15,000 on the very first course that you just literally like pulled out of your ass as you were traveling and having fun and laying on the beach all over the world, like celebrated. And I was like, well, I guess I did well. But this goes, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later today, but this goes into my old pattern of not enough. Not enough. My content is not good enough. I'm not earning enough money. I'm not doing enough. I need to work harder. I need to constantly make money. It's my old pattern. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this is why what I'm saying, Sam, is the energetics of it,
Mm-hmm.
the beliefs, the limiting beliefs, the inner state is so much more important than what kind of work you put out there. This is why I added this module because I think it's so important. Is this helpful at all?
It is. I do have an additional question, if that's
Please
all
go
right with
ahead.
everybody. So last time, your last video, you were like, or maybe something, you were just like walking us through, making a splash page or whatever, and you're like, I'm just going to swap in my photos here, and I'm like, I'm just going to swap in my photos. I'm like, I don't have any. So I was just curious, like, your photos seem to be professionally done. Like, what would you like for someone who's just starting out? Like, what would you say is like a good like amount of money to spend on like some like quality, photos? Like,
Yeah.
not like too badass, but like, just like the one on your web, like basically your website, your landing page. It's like it's the photo. That's what makes it look good. And
Oh,
so just
thank
like,
you.
well, I mean, you're welcome. But so it's just like it's the photo is obviously very critical to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're asking such good questions, Sam. Honestly, I do have lots of professionally made photos, and over the years, I've invested lots of money and lots of trades into professionally made photos. So thank you. You're correct in making that observation. And the best photos, the photos that I really like, the photos that I feel like I'm truly being myself, are the photos that my 12-year-old took of me in the backyard, honestly. Because with my 12-year-old, I can be silly, I can be fully myself, I can run upstairs and change up clothes. What essentially what I'm saying is you don't have to have professional photos. As a matter of fact, if you have a really good friend or a family member who can go into the backyard with you and take pictures with you, those pictures will work. A lot of my pictures on the website are actually pictures taken with a cell phone, with iPhone. Now, what I do when it comes to photos, I don't just like I kind of create a strategy. Like I'm like that, if you can't tell. Like I'm at go at 110%. I do research. I spend hours on Instagram looking at the pictures that I really like. I screenshot, shoot them or whatever. I save them on my phone as favorites. And then I imitate those pictures that I like. So, what I do often, or what I aspire to do, is create interesting photos, because a lot of times, and I worked with enough photographers to know this feedback, that a lot of times we tend to take the same photo over and over again, where our facial expression looks exactly the same, and we do the same pose in every single picture, just different outfits and different backgrounds. So what I learned from working with professional photographers is to even like change up your face. So I mean, this is kind of weird. I would go and look in the mirror and try to change up my faces. I practiced before, even with my 12-year-old, because she'll be like, Mom, this is taking so long. You're so annoying. How much time do I have to take your pictures? This is so. So I know that with her, I have only 30 minutes, and I better like get a lot of stuff done in that 30 minutes, that I have to bribe her for the 30 minutes of her time. So,
Yeah.
and even if I go to a professional photo shoot, I literally plan out my outfits, my poses, my face, my hair, my background. I really plan it so that when it comes to executing, which will be the same thing that I'm going to teach you today, when it comes to executing, it takes only like an hour. Is this
Yeah.
helpful?
Yes. I was
Plan it
just
out
I was
in
just thinking
advance.
of this quote. Good. I forgot who said it, but it's good artists imitate and great artists steal.
Yeah.
You guys heard that before?
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
so
I
yeah, it's like
totally feel,
no. That's I mean that's yeah, that's what people do. So
yeah. But I spend hours looking at other people's photos, and then I imitate those photos that I like.
so
Or
you
I
just
get
go around like searching for inspiration and basically just like
right.
copy the stuff that you think is like good.
That's right. Also, what I do, you guys, and this is kind of insider information. So these days we're really bombarded, right, with sales material. So what I do is like people that I really look up to, like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Gabrielle Bernstein, Danielle LePage, whenever they sell something, I literally take screenshots of their sales pages. I take screenshots of their ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and then I study them for hours. And you can say imitate, I say inspiration. I get my inspiration from them because I see what kind of pictures they used. I see what kind of wording they're using. So, in other words, I don't just wake up with a great sales page. I spend hours at this stage of my life. I look what people who I consider uber successful, people who make millions of dollars from their launches. And I do what they do with my own words, with my own pictures, with my own pretty letters. That's what I do. Yeah. Good questions.
I have a question
Yeah.
related to pricing. So I was actually just looking through the different courses for the 300-hour training and trying to understand kind of the why behind the price for each course. Because so like the
You're so
manifestation.
smart, Laura. Yeah.
um, so like because I'm also trying to figure out like if you have X number of hours of content that you want to share. Like for me, like I want it to be affordable for people, but I also don't want to like have the price too low. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
So, yes, Let me answer that question. You're so smart. And the reason why you're smart, you studied my page and you notice that there is a strategy behind my pricing strategy. I don't, yes, on one hand, I am guided with my intuition and inner hearing, but in a bigger sense, there is always a strategy. So for the 300-hour teacher training, for those, some of you here are in the 300-hour teacher training, some of you are doing drop-in for this particular course. So I'm going to teach you all the steps. My first step is, what is it that I envision? What is my goal? I always start with creating a vision. So my vision was that people pay in full, which was what, 1999 or something, $1,999 for this course. I said $2,000. 300-hour teacher training is going to be $2,000, and I want everybody to pay upfront. So, and it's actually cheaper than 99% of 300-hour teacher trainings out there. So it's already on sale, but I wanted people to pay upfront. So if you look at my pricing structure, that $2,000 paying upfront is actually 3 times cheaper than adding every single individual class. So if you were to add all the pricing for all the courses, I think it ends up being like over $5,000. Now I put it out there so people can see that they're saving massive money by signing up upfront. This is one thing that I did. The second thing that I did is, many of you did the teacher training, the 200-hour teacher training with me first earlier in the year. And the last week of the teacher training, I said, in these 3 days, 36 hours, if you sign up for the 300-hour teacher training, you get a $200 discount. Do you guys remember that one, for those of you who signed up? And I had 40 people sign up in that 36-hour time frame. So I had a 90% conversion in that limited time, 36-hour time frame. Now, I'm telling you this because it is important. And Laura, I'm so glad you picked up on this. I'm going to tell you how I do it in my other courses as well. So ultimately, in the first 36 hours, as I rolled out my 300-hour teacher training, I was 100% sold out, fully sold out. And 95% of the registrants took advantage of the discount. This is ultimately was my plan. Now, some people are doing drop-ins, some people, signed up at $2,000 price, which is still a really great price. But my goal was to get the vast majority of my signs up in the first 36 hours as I rolled out the course, which I accomplished. And I accomplished that because I did 2 things. I offered a limited time offer at an additional discount. Any questions about that? This is very important. The reason why I was able to grow my yoga empire to 7 yoga studios because I understood pricing really well. And I used incentives, discounts, and limited times offers to speed up my conversion. My conversion rates were very high, unheard of in the yoga industry, because the pricing structure was correct. The pricing structure is always focused on my end result, on my destination. I'm so glad you asked that question, Laura. That was very observant of you. I saw somebody else wave, Cheryl, and then Amy.
My question actually was before you started talking about the yoga teacher training, but it was about your pricing for like $33, $44. I wondered if any of your intuition or inner guidance was based on numerology. I mean, how
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now I rolled out those $33 classes, $44 classes. They're amazing content. They're like massive information. I just rolled it out in the beginning I'm going to increase the prices. So I'm actually reworking it, the whole thing right now. The prices is going to start at $88. So they're going to double or triple. Now, the first round, just like I told Sam, was free. The next round was like really little, like $22 class or $33 class. I was kind of just building my email list, building my following. But this year in November, I'm going to double and triple the pricing. Absolutely. I use numerology. I use numbers like 111, 22, 44, 88, stuff like that. Good observation, Cheryl. Annie, did you have a question?
Yes, I think my question really is, you have used your pricing because you have so many courses that you offer, that you're stacking all these courses, and so you have a plan. I don't know about everybody else, but I don't have all those courses, so I would only be rolling out one. And I don't know, I'm presuming that most of us on here probably don't have the arsenal that you do, and we'll be starting with just one. And I have a question around that too. So if you're doing just one course, and are you talking about a course being maybe 2 days, 2 hours, one day? I'm just thinking about how to look at this, as if it's only one workshop. Should you do one workshop that's 4 hours long, or 2 workshops that's only 2 hours long, and draw it out, make it seem like they're getting more for their money? Or do you see where I'm going with this, Albina?
So Annie, there are two things that I want to say. I started with the first course. I started with one course. Do you know what I mean? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So 2 years ago, I started with one course.
With lots of modules, right?
Yes, lots of modules, but I started with the first course. Now, I never looked at it as in like how many hours or how much content. What I focused on, and this is important for you to hear, I never focus on how much money I want to make. What I focus is on, what do I want to offer into the world? How can I best serve my ideal client? So when I focus on a yoga studio owner who's struggling to make their ends meet, who are overworked, remember, I started you with this process. Who's your ideal client? So my ideal client for my very first course was that overworked poor woman who's cleaning the toilets, taking care of her kids, does the payroll, does the marketing, teaches 100 classes a week, because I've been that woman. And I know that that woman is tired. She hasn't had a day off in years. She's overworked and she's not making any money. She's not taking any money home. I have been that woman. So my first course, my Rockstar Yoga Studio owner course, was for that yoga studio owner, because I've been in her shoes. So I focused on her and I said, I'm going to offer that woman massive value. Everything that I learned in 10 years of building my yoga empire, and I kick ass at it. I can I'm not bragging when I say that. I just celebrate, because I am good at running yoga studios. So I focused on that poor woman and I said, I'm going to offer to her everything that I know about running a yoga studio. And it ended up being 5 modules. I never looked at it as like, oh, how many hours and how it's going to be. I just focused on serving that ideal client. And it ended up being shit ton of content, because I have so much to offer. It's probably like 15 hours of content. But do you see, the order of things matters? Do you know what I mean? So I always focus on serving my ideal client, that person who is going to enroll into the course. And then it's kind of like organic process. Do you know what I mean, Annie? So there isn't a formula, and I think what you guys are asking for is a formula. What I'm saying is, to me, there is no formula. I focus on serving my ideal client, and I lead with my intuition. And just like everything else in this world, right, we're dancing between the energies, there is also a strategy. Now, at this point, with my 300-hour teacher training, there was a strategy, and the pricing structure did reflect that strategy. But when I first started, it was all intuitive. It was all just from my heart serving my ideal client. Am I making sense? Who's your ideal client? And what is your course? Start there.
Are you asking me or are you telling me to do that?
I'm asking you, have you done this work? Who is your ideal client and what is your offering to that person?
Yes. We talked about this. I wanted to do above and below the line, and I talked about how that my ideal client was a lady probably between the age of 40 and 60 who's retired, has money, and is looking towards the next chapter in her life. But you're talking about offering courses that have multiple. I feel like you're speaking about offering courses that have lots of different modules.
No,
That makes my mind just explode.
Yeah. So no. You're looking at it. I can tell that your mind goes 1, 2, 3 too many. So what I'm hearing you say, that particular offering is a short 2-hour offering.
Okay.
Right? So it's a short 2-hour workshop. So I would start with first short 2-hour workshops. So the very first things that I've done 3, 4 years ago were like vision and goals webinar around New Year's. It was a 2-hour webinar. I still have it available on my website. I offered it for free. Now, I even forgot about that webinar until now, but I could use that webinar and add it as a bonus material to the classes that I offer. Do you know what I mean? So there is nothing wrong with starting with small offerings like that. It can be a 2-hour workshop for like $33. You record it, you can sell it and turn it into evergreen content, or you can set it up as a bonus material that will go out in your future offerings. So don't look, what I'm hearing you, Annie, what you're saying, you get overwhelmed by all these modules. No, just know that you start one step at a time. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. Start with small steps. I started with this webinar, 90-minute webinar, 2-hour webinar on vision and goals. I started small. I didn't start with this 5-module thing. The 5-module thing for yoga studio owners came as a result of me exploring what am I good at. The absolutely best thing that I was good at, this was 2.5 years ago, was running a yoga business. Now I'm like, yes, I'm still great at running a yoga business, but like my heart is elsewhere now. But at that time, I created this course because I considered that this was at the pinnacle of my career as a yoga studio owner, because I just sold my 7 yoga studios, right? And I was like, I'm going to capture that moment. I created that course. That course still has lots of value in it, but my heart is elsewhere now. Do you know what I mean? So that's why what I'm saying is start with one small course, then that course is going to evolve, and you're just going to, with time, you're going to build more and more content. Does that help, Amy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't have to roll out a 5-module course right away. Start with the smaller offerings. That's how I started. These are really great questions, guys, because in my head, when I'm explaining things, I think I'm making sense, but you're hearing it from your standpoint. So please ask. These are really, really great questions, guys. Okay. Okay, can we move on? Any other questions?
Hey, Albina, it's Kathleen.
Yes.
On the topic of pricing, can you share any lessons learned about refund policy? Has that been an issue?
No, it has never been an issue because I am not available for refunds internally. energetically, I'm not available for refunds because my work is of so much value that I don't even entertain a possibility of a refund. Nobody has ever asked for a refund. I deliver so much value. Like, look, when you become an energetic match for whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you dream, there is no other possibility for anything else happening. I never even thought about a refund until you just asked me right now, because I never entertained it as a possibility. That's all I have to say about that. Do you know what I mean? And if somebody
Yeah,
really
that
did think
makes
about it, if I did think about it, a refund, and if somebody said, "Oh, I want my money back. This course was shit," I'll probably give them back all their money.
yeah. I think I was thinking more like they register for something and then 3 days before it starts, they change their mind. But I think that's my glitching coming out.
Yeah, I'm just not available for that internally, and it didn't happen.
Okay, thanks.
Years ago now, when I led teacher trainings, and we used to offer teacher trainings for $3,000, right? That's a pretty pricey thing. And we always said no refunds, absolutely no refunds. But there were a couple of, remember, I told you that when I didn't have clarity around my ideal clients, I would attract psychos. So those psychos were banned from ever coming to Yoga One, and they got a full refund. But do you see again that ties into the vibration, my energetic vibration? I did not have clarity. I said, everybody is welcome. So some weirdos would show up, and then they'd be so cray cray that I'd be like, please don't come back. As a matter of fact, there is a restraining order. Here's all your money. Please go away. But it's I created that myself because I didn't have clarity around that. So ultimately, in the end of the day, if you're talking about pricing, you're talking about your ideal client, in the end of the day, it's all you are creator of your reality. You and only you shape your destiny. Do you know what I mean? And here we are again at the place where we started it all. This is why the energetic, your inner state, your vision, the work about your ideal client, your ideal course from your heart, all of this is so much more important than the actual how long it is, what platform am I holding it on, how much I'm charging for it. All of that is important, but the number one priority is your vibration around that. Your vibe is the number one priority. Are you with me? Okay. So let us take a deep breath in. Let's stretch, stretch, stretch. I'm not going to give you any breaks today because we have a lot to cover. So if you need to go potty real quickly, you can go and run. But I have a lot of stuff to cover today, so I'm just going to keep on trucking. So let me just summarize really quickly my process. I'm not saying do what I tell you to do, but this is what has worked really well for me, guys. And I mean, like I said, I make six figures in the online courses right now, so I only see this as growing and expanding even more. But at this point in my life, I consider myself creating a lot of success and financial freedom through my online courses. This is how I do it. Step one, I get an inspiration. I can be sitting in meditation and an idea comes to me, or I can be folding laundry and I think of something, or read a book. Like, I get an inspiration, an idea comes and visits me. I take action right away. I do not delay. I do not go down the road. It was like, am I good enough? Am I an expert? Blah, blah, blah. Who am I? I just go ahead and set up a sales page within 24 hours. I already told you that. And I start promoting that course ASAP. Step two, I envision my desired outcome. So right away, before I even create a strategy, I start every day. I spend some time envisioning my dream becoming my reality. How many people show up for my course, how my course touches their lives, how I add massive value, how my clients feel when they take my class, how they feel, how I feel, how we all feel in each other's presence. So I literally every day I spend some time like in this place of creative visualization. I get into a feeling tone. Um, and I always say this or something better. Sometimes I'll tell you, sometimes money comes into like, oh, I want to make this much money in this course, but very rarely. It's usually how many people will show up in my class, how I'm going to touch their lives. But sometimes an amount shows up and I'm like, oh, okay, this or something better. Okay. So I use all of my manifesting tools. I pray, I journal, I envision, I surrender, all of that. I do it every day from the moment I get an inspiration. This part is important. Then I sit down, I create a sales strategy. So something that I shared with you last time, I'm going to make it all pretty. I'm going to put it in a calendar so that you can see it. But I literally write it down. On this day, I'm going to create a sales page. On this day, I'm going to run Facebook ads with this kind of budget for this many days. On this day, I'm going to make a video. On this day, I'm going to post about this. On this day, an email goes out. I just spent 2 hours, 1 hour, however long it takes to lay out the strategy. Now, I spend some time on creating the strategy because I lay it all out. It's like a map, right? This is a map. I cannot get to my destination unless I have a map. My destination is my vision. My destination is my idea. And I lay out the map. I spend time, energy, focus on creating the map. And then all I do is just I execute on this strategy. There is no thinking in that process. Once the strategy is created, I just do it. I just do it. No matter what. If I don't feel like it, if I am feeling lazy, if I want to Netflix and chill, I get my ass up and I execute on the strategy. There's no questions asked. And then also as I execute on that strategy, with a lot of it is a creative process, right? You think creating an Instagram post, like it takes me an hour to write an Instagram post. It take like maybe for some people they can like crank it out in 15 minutes. To me, it takes an hour to create a post. So it's absolutely a creative process. I made that commitment to myself 4 years ago that every day, no matter what, I'm going to write. And Instagram posts is one of the ways that I step into creative process and I write. So every day as I execute on that strategy, as I write my emails, as I create my posts, um, as I envision, as I meditate, as I journal, as I pray, as I surrender, I get some ideas, I write them down, and I collect those ideas because they become my agenda and my content for the course. Are you with me? So it's like a live process. It's a living being, at least the first time I roll out the course. Now the second, the third, the fourth time, I save all those posts, I save all those emails on my computer. So because it's an evergreen process, content, the next time I roll it out, I just copy paste. I reuse, recycle, repurpose that content that was already created before. But the very first time, there is a lot of creativity. That's why I meditate on it. This is why I journal. This is why I pray. This is why I surrender, because it requires all of that. Any questions so far? Am I making sense, guys? So, I mean, the first time you launch a course, it takes focus, it takes energy, it takes lots of creative energy. But also, just like any creative process, this is why I highly recommend Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. She writes about that book is all about creative process. And she says, like, no matter what, every day, it's like my job. Whether or not I feel like writing, I sit my ass down and I write. And this is what I do. And a lot of times I don't feel like creating, but I do it anyway. And most of the times, once I sit down, stuff starts flowing. I don't I don't wait until I get an inspiration in this stage. Do you know what I mean? In the stage of execution, I just do it. I just do it. Because if you wait for inspiration, it may never come. The inspiration already came the first time you got the idea. Once the strategy is laid out, you just do it. You just work. You just work it. Okay?
Quick question, Albina. With your social media, do you use Sketch Social so that you can set it up, or do you, because you post all the time, and I'm like you, I don't just throw something out there. It takes me an hour. I put a lot of thought and heart into it, but I've looked into Sketch Social, and I think there's some benefits to it, and I wondered if it's something you use.
I mean, there are many different programs for it. Planoly is one that I've used in the past. To be honest with you, I'm too cheap to do it. I'm already using so many apps and so many schedulers. At some point, it becomes like it adds up, you know. Free Planoly, yeah, I used free Planoly for a while until they started like charging money for everything. So now a lot of the content that I post at this point in my life, I already have so much content that a lot of times I reuse the content that I've created in the past. So all I do is copy and paste, copy and paste. But the fresh content definitely takes me time. That's why I save it on my computer so that I can copy and paste in the future. But on Facebook, and we're going to get into Facebook in a moment, on a Facebook, you can schedule it. Facebook allows you to schedule it in advance. Instagram doesn't. You can use outside services like Planoly. I don't, because I just don't want to spend the money. I'm cheap like that. But I'm going to show you some other Instagram tricks once we get to there. Yeah. This is why the strategy is so important, you guys. Because once I create the strategy, the first time I launch the course, all I do the next time around is just change up the dates, because the blueprint is already there. All the content is already there. All I do from there on is copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. It takes some time and energy and effort to create it the first time, but then the consequent times it doesn't take as much energy and focus. Oh, Laura says that you can save posts as drafts, and that's helpful. So all you do then is just post it. That's another way of doing it. Yeah. Okay. So let us take a deep breath, kind of move your shoulders a little bit, stretch out. I'm going to get into the how portion of the session. And this is the time where I get to share my screen and show you a lot of stuff on my computer. What I want to mention from last week that I forgot to mention, remember I told you that you don't have to have the full website in order for you to roll out your course. You can create a landing page or a sales page on MailChimp. You can also do it on Aweber. So on Aweber, if you pay whatever that is, $45 a month or whatever their basic package is, you can create a landing page on Aweber as well. It's very simple. There are lots of different templates. You can create it from scratch. So you don't have to have a website. You can create your sales page as your landing page if you wanted to go ahead and roll out your course. Okay. So how do I do it? I have a plan for you guys. So as you recall, last time I said, ideally you have a minimum of 6 weeks to launch your course. 6 weeks. Even at Yoga One, when I ran my 7 yoga studios, for any program that were rolled out, we use 6 weeks as a minimum to promote any sort of event, any sort of workshop, any sort of training. 6 weeks minimum. Ideally between 6 to 8 weeks. The same applies to your online courses. So I start that process by creating a sales page right away. So as I mentioned, as soon as I get an inspiration, I create a sales page. Usually it takes me a while to create a sales page. A really great sales page. So the courses that have been really, really successful, it would take me, those sales pages probably take me a whole day to create. And again, English is not my first language, so it's possible that it takes me longer because I also meditate. I have many, many different drafts. I work on it, I come back to it. I work on it, I come back to it because sales page is that important. It has lots of components to it. Go back to whatever module in this course where we covered a sales page. It takes me a while. A good sales page that converts into sales needs to be really thought out. Here's the second part. I often start this process with a freebie. It's like a lead on. I don't know what the official term for it is. So I'm rolling out my Black Friday sale that will roll out, a week before Thanksgiving. So my lead on right now, if you've been watching my social media post, is this new webinar. I'm setting it up as a Facebook Live event, and I invite you all to join. It's called Create True Prosperity. It's a free event, Facebook Live. It's going to be 2 hours. And in that workshop, I'm going to talk about abundance, prosperity, and money in terms of your relationship with power, right? Because everything is energy. Money is energy. Money is power. You can get things with money. You can experience things with money. You can do things with money, right? You can support others through money, and that gives you power. So one of the ways to look at your relationship with money is through the lens of power, which is fascinating. I just learned about it a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I've never thought about it. I did all this work on myself. Again, inspiration. And since I'm so fascinated with this, I roll it out as a free event, which will be on November 5th. But it's my lead on to the big sale that is coming on Black Friday in November. But so I started this process. Right now, I'm promoting Create True Prosperity. I'm promoting it via email, via social media, Facebook, Instagram. I have Facebook and Instagram ads running for Create True Prosperity. So I usually lead on with things like that. So in the past, if you've been with me for a while, you probably have done my Master Manifestor Challenge. I had it as a lead on or a freebie for Become a Manifest Coach course that I did. I did 5-day abundance challenge. I had it as a lead on to another event. I don't even remember what it
I have a
was.
quick question.
Yes.
So you actually run Facebook and Instagram ads for your free offerings?
I do. I do because it's my
Good to
lead
know.
generator. I do. It's my lead generator. So what I want, maybe it makes sense for me to explain why I do it. I want to provide massive value as my freebie event so that people who sign up, and which I will do with content, any content that I offer out there, I have zero glitches because I know the content is exceptional. The content changed my life. So as I offer Create True Prosperity, I know I'm going to deliver. So when people see that, if I deliver so much value in my free event, imagine what's possible when it's a paid content. That's why I do it. And I always, Cheryl, I think you've done Master Manifestor with me. You've done 5-day abundance challenge. You know that I provide massive value in those events. In the past, they're like 5-day events, 3 days events. So I've put in a lot of work into that. But those lead ons, those lead generators, in the future or down the road, I turn them into a bonus material or a lead generator on my website. This is how I grow my email list. Okay, So that content, I repurpose, I recycle that content down the road as bonus materials to different courses or as lead generators on different platforms. My website, my Facebook, my Instagram, Facebook and Instagram ads and things like that. So it's never wasted content. I record it, I edit it, and I package it up and I reuse it down the road. So like I mentioned before, I did Vision and Goals webinar. That was one of the very first webinars I've ever done for my yoga. As I rolled out my Rockstar Yoga Studio owner course, I did a lot of really amazing, if I do say so myself, free webinars like about pricing strategy. I did webinars about Facebook ads. I did webinars about community events. All of those were free things where I provided massive value. Like the best thing that I learned from 10 years of running a hugely successful yoga business. And again, so the first 2 weeks I focus on promoting this lead generator. Then I do the event, and during the event, listen up, you guys. Laura, this is the part that you asked. During the event, I always say, this is what's coming up next. This is when I rolled out my paid content, and I always offer a discount. So what I say for you guys, because you signed up for Create True Prosperity, for the next 36 hours, I'm offering this amazing course that is coming up at an additional discount. After that 36-hour period, early bird price kicks in. After early bird is a regular price. So essentially what I want everybody to sign up at the discounted price. Most of my people sign up at the discounted price. Okay, so that psychological incentive is very powerful. It worked on most of you who are here from the 300-hour teacher training. Okay. Then all I do is execute on the strategy. Again, it's all of this is a part of the strategy that I created. I use these platforms mainly as I launch my courses. I use my email list, I use my Instagram, I use my Facebook, and I also use my Instagram and Facebook ads. And Cheryl, yes, I use my Instagram and Facebook ad budget to promote my lead generators or free events. What I want to say about these three channels, email, Facebook, and Instagram, consistency is key. Consistency is key. So I'd say at the very minimum, post 2 or 3 times a week on social media, Instagram and Facebook. And ideally, your Facebook and Instagram content is different. It's not the same content. And then I usually say send an email once a week. I send an email once a week. In all of this, it's not like, hey, sign up for my course. Hey, sign up for my course and sign up for my freebie. Every single Instagram post, every single Facebook post, every single email, I always provide what I believe is massive value. It's not just like sign up for this or sign up for that. I usually share little pieces of what's going to come in the course. So if you read my emails, so lately I've been posting about like the sacred numbers, right? The angel numbers. I've been posting about the signs from the universe. I've sent emails and posted about different omens that you can always ask for an omen. And so in other words, everything that I'm posting starting 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, it's actually on the topic of whatever I'm going to cover in the next course that is coming up, which is Create True Prosperity, which is related to my manifesting course that is rolling out this Black Friday.
Albina, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you have multiple courses kind of in the queue at the same time, how do you prioritize? No, you don't have multiple courses.
One at a time.
Okay.
Promote one at a time. If you promote multiple at the same time, you confuse your clients. Promote one course at a time. If you send an email, promote one thing at a time. Now, a lot of times I collaborate with other people, and I say, as our collaboration, my affiliates, I say, you need to send an email about this course that is coming up. And what I've learned is, like, a lot of people don't understand sales. A lot of people don't understand. A lot of times I have to like really explain to my partners what I mean by send an email. You provide content, you provide massive value. And then if it's a sales email, you need to write very clearly about what it is that you're selling. Because in the past, they'd write some crap, then at the very bottom of the email, they'd be like, if you're interested in this upcoming event, click here. What the heck? If you're selling something, you have to make it very clear that you're selling it. Do you know what I mean? If you bury it at the bottom of the email, ain't nobody gonna read it. Ain't nobody gonna see it. Ain't nobody gonna click on it. A lot of times I see people make a mistake where they mention like 15 different things in their email. And I have to confess, I used to make that mistake when I ran my yoga studios, because there's like so much stuff going on all the time. So the email would list like 25 events that are coming up. No, no, no. You promote only one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Does that help, Suzanne? This
It
is
does.
why.
I think that's where I get caught up, is that with the studio, it's that you have multiple kind of events and courses that are kind of coming up in the future. So it's like, if you set, this one is 4 weeks out, so I'm going to focus all of my emails for the next 4 weeks are just going to talk about this one, and then you tackle the next one when it comes to email.
That's right. So this is why this strategy is important, right? You lay out your calendar 6 weeks at a time. Do you know what I mean? 6 weeks at a time, you lay out the calendar so to effectively promote each event. Now, I had 7 yoga studios, so just imagine how much crap was always going on, right? So we'd always prioritize. So let's say the biggest event that we're doing, it's like Love Revolution, based on the book that Roger wrote. All 7 studios participated in that event. We had 2,000 people participate in it every year. So that was the main thing that we promoted. If somebody led a little workshop about something, I'm sorry, but that event didn't make it into the email, because all the efforts of all 7 studios was focused on Love Revolution, and that was a free event. Do you know what I mean? But we did it so that it was there's lots of reasons why we did it, but we'd always focus with literally our team meeting would decide what's the priority, and would decide which events are being promoted at any given time. So it doesn't make sense. Let's say, for example, one of my smaller studios, let's say Yoga One Pearland, is a small community. Let's say they have a workshop going on. It doesn't make sense to send an email to all 7 studios, to all 65,000 people, because first of all, Pearland is a small community. Do you know what I mean? Ain't nobody Heights is not gonna drive to Pearland. People from Midtown are not gonna drive to Pearland. So a lot of times what we did with multiple locations, we would pull out people who go to Pearland Studio only, and we would send them a targeted email with their local events. So if you have multiple studios like that, you can target that way, targeting local events for their local studios. Does that help? Yeah, just like let's say for example, Roger and I have on our email list, there are people from all over the world. So I can parse out my email list. And if I lead an online event, I can email it to everybody. But let's say Roger is teaching a class in Austin. I can filter out only people who live in Austin, Texas, and I can send them a targeted email only to the people who live in Austin, because it doesn't make sense for my friend Casey in Sydney, Australia, to receive an email about an event here locally in Austin. So you can, so think about that as well as you're promoting your things. Good questions, you guys. Okay, so here's another thing that I do. In addition to sales page, I record at least two videos, two promotional videos, 1 minute video and a 3 minute video. 1 minute video goes on Instagram because an Instagram post, you can post a 1 minute video. For Facebook, it's a 3 minute video. Now, there are lots of different rules about Facebook and Instagram, but the Facebook ads that perform the best, it's a 3 minute videos, a minimum of 3 minutes. So I usually make it exactly 3 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but not shorter, because they tend to perform better than any other length videos. This is important, you guys. 1 minute Instagram, 3 minutes for Facebook. And I run at least 3 sets of ads, 3 sets of ads on Facebook and Instagram. And I monitor my ad performance. So a lot of times people, I used to think that way. And look, I'm not an expert. I'm learning Facebook ads because it's a beast on its own. So I used to be like, oh, I run an ad, it's not working, it's not effective. And I just like, there was a period of time I was like, it's too much money, it's too expensive, it's not working. What I didn't realize is that I did not run a good Facebook ad because either my sales copy was shit, or my pictures were shit, or my headline was shit, or my call to action was shit. So as you learn, you can tweak different things and play with different things. Different wording does better, different titles do better, different images do better. So I ran 3 sets of ads, some with videos, some with pictures, some with this heading, some with other headings, so that I, over time, you need a 4-day minimum for the Facebook ad to really kick in. So if you start freaking out and you kill the ad within the first 24 hours, you're killing the ad too early. It takes a minimum of 4 days for the algorithm to truly pick up the ad and run it. So don't kill the ad until it has run for 4 days. After 4 days, you can reassess and discontinue the pictures, the images, the titles that are not performing well. And what I mean by that is anything that is higher than 30 cents per click. That's my rule of thumb. But you'll see that some ads are due like 25 cents per click, which is really great, and some will be like 85 cents per click. Kill the 85 cents per click. It's not a good ad. I learned this from Jay Abraham, who is a genius. He worked with many, many different industries. He is hugely successful. He's now a business consultant. And I learned it from Tony Robbins' Platinum membership that I attended earlier this year. But he said that, a lot of times we think that the thing itself is not working when we don't realize that we have to constantly improve things, and especially when it comes to emails, sales pages, Facebook ads. So you can even create multiple sales pages with different pictures, with different headlines, with different text, and you can reassess or assess which ones are doing better than the other. So this is maybe something down the road, but the words, the pictures, the visual of the page all matters. So you can tweak those little things over the years, and then you can, over a period of time, and then you can imitate the ones that are performing really well. I'll tell you from my own experience. So I've done a couple of things that sold out really quickly, and it was a really great sales pages. So one event was my women's retreat last year. And I started promoting it when I was still traveling around the world. But it was, I spent a whole year on identifying and honing in on my ideal client. And it was a woman, right? It is a woman. And when I created that video, when I created a sales page for my women's retreat last year, the retreat sold out. We completely did not have any spaces for my retreat. And I know that the reason why that sales page, that video did so well is because I spent time, energy, and focus on identifying my ideal client. And when I created the sales page, when I created the videos, I spoke from my heart. And whenever I do that, when I actually set aside time to do that, go deep into my soul to identify it, to write it to my ideal client, those videos, those sales pages tend to do so much better than something that I just crank out, just sit down and do it. That's why I say all this pre work, the background work that I shared with you is so important. Okay, questions. Good? Okay, Sam, go ahead.
Um, I have a tendency to make things harder than they need to be. But I was curious about you keep mentioning this, like, Trinity, that's email, Facebook, Instagram, email, Facebook, Instagram, and it's like they keep coming up as a trio. And I stopped using Facebook like not recently. It's been a few years. Um, and then also in tying in with this kind of like be yourself and speak from your heart and like authentic speaking voice or whatever. So I guess there's this like thing in my head about, okay, well, just do what Albina says, basically, because it's like a recipe, which I'm not like, this is not a complaint or anything. I'm just like, I'm like, that's a really good idea. Just don't make it harder than it needs to be. Just do what Albina tells you to do. She says use all three platforms. Just use all three platforms. Or is it like, oh, well, am I just making my life harder if I'm like, I'm just going to do email, or like, I'm just going to do email on Instagram? Or is that just like, hey, like that sounds cool, but that's just like not how it works?
Yeah, but that's a really, really great question, Sam. I'm so glad you asked it. First of all, I'm going to go back to the very first thing that we started with, which is who is your ideal client? My ideal client still uses Facebook. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now, if your ideal client is a younger crowd, they're probably using TikTok. They're
Yeah.
probably using Snapchat. So absolutely, it makes sense for you to go and use those platforms. My ideal client does not use TikTok. That's one reason. So if your ideal client is a little bit younger, like my daughter, my 12-year-old is like, Mom, you're so old. You are still using Facebook. Facebook is for old people. And I'm like, girl, whatever. Now, another reason, so it's a twofold answer. Another way to look at it is Facebook, Instagram is now owned by Facebook. In order for you to run ads on Instagram, you have to have a Facebook business account to set it up. So that's another reason, even if you don't use Facebook personally, you will absolutely need to use Facebook to set up your Instagram ads effectively. So
Let me ask you this way. I should just save myself the time and energy and just use those three platforms, true or false?
it depends on your ideal client, Sam.
Okay. So basically, so when you're saying like come up with your ideal client, but then I also wrote down it's like, you need to come up with who they are, but you also kind of need to figure out like where they are too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am not interested in teeny bobsters who hang out in TikTok. They don't have the money for my courses, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about different things. So that's one thing. Like, remember, everything in life is a dance. And another thing to consider, and I invite you to consider, is success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. So what at this point in my business, I mimic what successful people are doing. I'm not yet in a stage where I can identify with 100% clarity where my ideal client lives. I'm not there yet. Maybe down the road, I'll be able to tell you that. And when I do, I'm probably going to add an additional module to this course to fine tune it and make it better. But at this point in my life, I'm simply mimicking and modeling exactly what other successful people are doing, which in my book, these are the Tony Robbins of this world. the Dean Graziosi, Gabrielle Bernstein, Danielle LaPage, and they're all doing Facebook events for free. You know, they're all doing challenges. And I'm like, dang, if Tony Robbins can like rake in millions of dollars from this his online events, he must be doing something well. So I'm just gonna repeat what he's doing. And I may not be raking in $1 million yet, but I'm just repeating the same steps that he's doing. And by the way, a lot of the content that I'm sharing with you in this course comes from the Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi course that I paid $2,000 for and learned all this stuff from there. I mean, other courses too, but I'm summing up everything that I learned that worked for me and I'm sharing it with you guys. So what I say is because success leaves clues, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And maybe it makes sense for you to start with something that, like I tell you, that works for me, and then if it doesn't work for you, you can switch gears a little bit, or maybe you can research. And there are lots of content out there on YouTube that is free to figure out how to do your advertising on other platforms. I use mainly Instagram and Facebook. And I make a lot of money on Instagram and Facebook. It works for me. And also email. So I usually use these three, but this is also where my ideal client lives. And honestly, you guys, there's so much stuff out there. You can be on YouTube, you can be on TikTok, you can be on Snapchat, you can be on LinkedIn, you can be all over the place. Like, I don't have the bandwidth to be on all the platforms, to be honest. I don't have the bandwidth. I'm mostly on Instagram these days. Now, if you have the bandwidth, if you really love TikToks, if you really love making videos on TikToks, then go to TikTok if your ideal client lives there. At this point in my life, I watch my kids like doing all of that all day long, and I'm like, I don't want to be doing that. I'm just not interested. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. So what I want to share with you guys next is actually, let's roll up the sleeves and go to Facebook. Let's go to Instagram, and I'm going to share with you everything that I know. So we're now on Facebook. And what I want to say is, once upon a time, Facebook groups were really, really popular. And they're not as popular as they used to be. And they're still very, very effective. So there are such things as Facebook groups, and this one, I'm a member of this Facebook group for bed and breakfast owners and innkeepers, since I have a bed and breakfast and retreat center in Taos, New Mexico. So I am a member of several groups like this, and what I encourage you to do is add massive value on these groups. So different groups have different rules, right? Some people say do not advertise, do not promote yourself. And, like if you want people to sign up for your courses, people will buy from you if they know you, if they feel like you're providing massive value. So a lot of times I would add comments here. I participate. Like this year of pandemic, I've learned so much from pivoting in my bed and breakfast business. So I would post a lot here to add massive value and say simple things like, hey guys, this is what worked for me. I am also a member of Yoga Studio Owners Facebook pages. And once in a while, I comment there. And when the pandemic happened, I was helping people there a lot. And my husband, since Roger is a lawyer, so he was, I made him record videos on about like lease negotiations and different clauses in the contract and how you can just negotiate with your landlord about not paying rent due to the global pandemic. We talked about PPP funding and things like that. But anyway, so on those Facebook pages, we provided massive value by adding free content. In other words, Roger helped many, many yoga studios owners for free to negotiate their leases and things like that. As a result, he got lots of work as a lawyer to help people to do some legal stuff. And I also sold real quickly. I offered a course on how to automate PayPal and email integration. So right as the pandemic happened and people were freaking out, I just made that course like $22 and I posted it there. Lots of people signed up for that. So what I'm saying is, I encourage you to identify a couple of groups that are in line with where your ideal client lives, and you can consider becoming a member of those pages, those groups, add massive value, engage with the members so that you're just expanding your community, so to speak, online community. On Facebook, there are also different things like fan pages. So if I were to search Facebook, and I can't see my full screen here, but if I were to search, let's say, Abraham Hicks, it will show a fan page for that. So Abraham Hicks, I'm already a member. I like that page, right? There would be a lot of times things, Facebook will show you pages similar to that. So these fan pages, I would also go there and sometimes I comment on different people's posts and things like that. So for me, Abraham Hicks would be one. There'd be Napoleon Hill would be another one, Think and Grow Rich. So I'm also liking those pages. And it's just another way for you to expand your presence online and contribute, engage with people on those fan pages and groups. Here is why it is important for you. A part of your homework will be to create a list of 5 to 10 fan pages on Facebook. Why am I asking you to do that? So fan pages is the area that is in line with whatever your online course is, or the fan pages where your ideal client lives. Do you know what I mean? Engages and reads, participates, a part of their community. Because in a moment, I'm going to show you how to run Facebook ads, and I'm going to do it really quickly. So if you don't have a business page on Facebook, I recommend that you set it up as soon as possible. It doesn't cost you any money. So I have my personal Albina Rippey, but my business page is Success Coach, and then another one is Blue Sky Retreat Center. So I have two business pages. But this page is called business.facebook.com. And this is how you would run ads. There are many different ads that you can run on Facebook. And remember, when you set up ads on Facebook, you can also set up ads on Instagram through your business Facebook page, because Instagram is owned by Facebook. So under Business Manager, you'd go to Ads Manager. I mean, there are different ways for you to boost a post. The easiest way is to write a post on Facebook and then you can boost it. Another way of doing it is actually going through the Ads Manager, which is a little bit more complicated. So let's see if I can show you. So this is the ad that I have running, True Prosperity. This is the ad that is spreading the word about my free event, Facebook Live event on November 5th. And as you see, it's not doing very well because it's costing me 61 cents per click. So I need to go and tweak it a little bit. But this is where you will look at your ad performance. So out of 7,500 impressions, I only had 41 click, and every click is costing me 61 cents, which is expensive. I spent $25 and I didn't get that many results. I'll probably kill that ad and create a new one because it's not performing well. But let's say I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to click create. And there are different ways for you, like what is ultimately your goal for your ad? So you can be brand awareness, reach, traffic, engagement. You can do video views. You can do lead generation, messages, conversions, etc., etc. So I usually do either traffic or lead generation. So when I did the ads for yoga teacher trainings, I did lead generations and I sold, several people signed up for my teacher trainings, but those were higher price items. I usually reach out personally to each lead generation. But let's say for now, I'm just going to say traffic. I'm going to direct people to my website and continue. And you can name your campaign. I'm just gonna say test, or I'll say digital dynamite example ad. And then I usually don't bother with auction or whatnot. I usually don't go there. And then I say next. I'm going to direct everybody to my website. Let's say I'm with this ad, I'm going to, promote my lead generation, which would be my my Aweber form. Remember how we set up a form that collects people's emails, and once people fill out that form, an automatic email is sent to them with some free content. Let's say people are signing up for my 5-day abundance challenge. The website link would be my Aweber form, and the auto email that will be sent to them instantaneously is that 5-day abundance challenge. If you recall from earlier modules, we looked into that. So daily budget, depending on what your budget is, you can set it up as daily budget. You can set up also a lifetime budget. Let's just say I want to do a lifetime budget of, let's just say $100, that the ad would start tomorrow, October 27th. And let's just say we're going to run it for the first until November 10th. I'm just making it up, the dates. Oh, and it was $1,000. I don't think so. I'm just going to run $100 ads. Now, pay attention here. You can specify the location. So the location of your ideal client, you can say United States, you can say Canada, you can say UK, maybe it's United Kingdom. Just where do you think your ideal client lives? So to me it would be English-speaking countries. You can select an age of your ideal client here. So for me, my ideal client is somebody between 25 and 45. Here. And I prefer women because my ideal client ultimately is me 5-10 years ago. So my ideal client is women. Remember, we talked about ideal client. A lot of times people will decide that, oh, as many as possible is actually incorrect thinking. The more you can hone in on your ideal client, the better. There is a way to do detailed targeting. And here you can put in your fan pages. So in other words, I'm not just interested in any woman between 25 and 45 who speaks English. I want to narrow it down more. So let's say for my abundance challenge, I want people who are interested in Abraham Hicks. Here it is. Abraham Hicks followers. I'm going to say Esther Hicks. I'm going to say law of attraction. I'm going to say Napoleon Hill. So in other words, the fan pages, remember I said a part of your homework will be to identify 5 fan pages where your ideal client lives. In other words, people who are interested in the subject that you're teaching. So to me, it would be all these people, maybe Gabrielle Bernstein. Here, Gabrielle Bernstein, interests, you know. So if you are promoting, so let's say yoga teacher training, the interest can be yoga teacher or yoga or vinyasa flow and things like that. So depending on whatever your course is, you will put in additional interests here. And then I'm going to say next. So right away, the Facebook is going to place my ads through my Facebook account, Albina Rippey Success Coach, but also my Instagram account, which my handle shows up here, Albina Rippey. And here you have some options. You can do carousel, which would be several pictures. You can upload different pictures. You can do single image or video. So let's just say single image or video. That's why as I said to you earlier, I usually create 3 sets of ads. So to just determine which set of ads is doing better. So in this place, you can upload a video. You can also upload different pictures. I'm going to mention here that the length of your video does matter. 3-minute video for Facebook, 1-minute video for Instagram, and there is a certain size of your image that is absolutely matters. If the size of your image is incorrect, then the Facebook algorithm, the Instagram algorithm is not going to put your ad in front of as many people as possible. So pay attention to the ad, to the sizes. And PicMonkey, remember how we covered PicMonkey last time? In PicMonkey, you can crop your image exactly to fit your Facebook ad or Instagram ad or Instagram story or Facebook story. So here, add media. You can add a video or you can add an image. And I already have a bunch of images uploaded into Facebook. So let's say, so you see these are square images that I'm promoting on Instagram. There are also Facebook posts, different images. There is also images for Instagram stories. So they're all different sizes. Do you see that? Let's just say I like this image. And here you get to select which one do you want it to be. Somewhere here. Let's just say. So here I get to select, oh, this one is going to go for Facebook feed, right? But for Instagram feed, I don't want this image because it's incorrect size. I'm going to edit this one and I'm going to add a different image that is actually sized exactly like I want it. So I'm going to say change and I'm going to create, pick an image that is square, which is an Instagram size image. And then you're going to go look here. So for stories, it needs to be a different image. Instagram stories have a different size. Do you know what I mean? It's a vertical image. So I'm going to change it up. You see, if it was going to come up that other picture, it just shows my hair, which is kind of weird. So I'm going to go and change it to this image that is the size of an Instagram story. You see how it's a vertical image? I'm going to do the same thing for Facebook story. So this is why it is important for you to use different size images. And the size does matter. The size absolutely does matter. So you're going to go through all of these places, set up different size images and things like that. You can upload a video. I'm not going to show you how to upload a video right now, But you just go in and change in-stream video and you upload a video. I don't think I have a video here. Maybe this one, is it a video? I think that was a video here. But as you upload a video, what I'm going to say is it is important to make sure that your Facebook video has subtitles. I'm going to, and then you'd hit publish, right? To publish. I'm not going to hit publish because I don't want this ad to run. It was a fake ad. Oh, I forgot the most important part where you add headline, create true prosperity. You can play with different ad headline options. So you can literally add up to 5 different headlines. Remember how I said that what you put into your headline does matter. So some people, you know, once you create different headlines, you can run the ad and then see which ones are doing better. You can say make money now, you know, and things like that. So up to 5 different headlines you can upload here. Then here you would add a website link. So to me, I would put in not albinarippy.com, but rather that Aweber form that enables people to sign up to my lead generator and receive my auto email that I set up in Aweber. Call to action, learn more is not a very good call to action. It's better to put something like get access or enroll now, more active call to action. I mean, there are more complicated things here, more advanced as Facebook Pixel that brings you back to your website and things like that. For the sake of this example, I'm not going to show you Facebook Pixel because it's way too complicated. You don't have to do it. It's an optional thing, and then you can publish it. So I'm not going to publish this one, but let me just take a couple of moments here because I want to mention something about Facebook videos. As you run an ad, ads that have subtitles tend to perform better than the ads that don't have subtitles. So just think about yourself. Like, do you ever, I don't know if I'm the only one, but like sometimes I wake up early, right? I wake up at 4 in the morning and sometimes like I lay in bed and sometimes I'd pick up the phone and my husband is still asleep. So I'm not going to play a video, right? I'm going to wake him up. But a lot of times I would watch a video and read the subtitles. Do you do that? Give me a hands up if you like watch a video and only read subtitles. Yeah, as a matter of fact, most people do that. Very few people actually turn on the video and listen to the words. They just watch the picture move and they read the subtitles. So mimicking that human behavior, the ads, video ads on Facebook that perform better are the ads that have subtitles. Now, as you just follow the steps, so the Facebook will take you through the steps. There are 2 ways to add Facebook subtitles. One way is for you to allow Facebook to generate it automatically for you. You can go in there and then edit the subtitles as you need to. I like to use this app called Vimily. Let me make sure that I'm spelling it correctly. Now, this one costs money, but I like to use Vimily. It's not that expensive. I think it's maybe $9.99 a month. But the reason why I like to use Vimily is because it helps me edit my videos. I can take one video and I can make it vertical or I can make it square. I can edit the length of the video and I can also generate subtitles and I can export that subtitle file. It's called an SRT file, .srt file. And then, so what Vimily does, it separates the video and then it records the subtitles as an SRT file. You can go in there and edit it, and you can make it look the way you want it. And then you can take that SRT file and you can upload it into YouTube, or you can upload it into Facebook as a separate file. Do you know what I mean? So instead of doing the same work over and over again, going and editing, your subtitles in YouTube, editing your subtitles on Facebook, editing your subtitles everywhere. What Family does, it creates a SRT file that you can upload on different platforms, on YouTube and Facebook, so you don't have to recreate the same subtitles over and over again. I think it's $9.99 a month, Laura, but I'm not sure. It's not that expensive, but like I said, you add $10 here, $5 here, and the end of the day, it adds up. So that's why I'm very mindful where I'm spending my money every month. PicMonkey costs money, Aweber costs money, my Facebook ads cost money. So, I like Family. It's not that expensive, but I just need to use it often enough to justify that expense. So just please make a note. The two most important things about your Facebook ads is that the size of your images does matter. The length of your video does matter. It needs to be 3 minutes long. And subtitles do matter. Include subtitles, because it'll say optional. It's not optional. If you want your ad to perform better, add subtitles. Then what also matters is interest, like, right, your fan pages for your ideal clients. In other words, spend some time on identifying your ideal clients so you can target your social media ads in a more productive way. I will give you a list of all the apps that I recommend, and I already started uploading all the content to the website. So there, I'm putting links in there, and all the places where you can find those apps and programs that I'm recommending. What else do I need to say about social media ads? It's an art, it's a science. I can make a whole course just on Facebook ads, just on Instagram ads. I have not mastered that area yet. I am every week, not every day, but every week, I'm spending some time to learn about Facebook and Instagram ads, because they can be really, really effective. The last thing that I'll say about Facebook ads, let's say that you already have a rather extensive email list, right? You can create a Facebook audience instead of targeting the interests. You can create a custom audience where you upload your existing email list into Facebook, and Facebook will target those people in a look-alike audience. Now, I have a video already recorded on the subject, so I'm just going to send it to you via email, and I'm going to link that video on the website where you can watch it on your own time, because it's not going to be relevant for everybody in this course today. But if you have an extensive email list, you can create a lookalike audience that will target people on your email list and people similar to your email list, which I think is a really cool option. Like, especially if you have a yoga studio and you already have thousands and thousands of emails. Okay. Let me see if yeah. And another thing that I want to say, guys, is that, I don't know everything. And a lot of times, like, Facebook will change something, or Instagram will change something, or Aweber would tweak something. If there is something that I don't know, I usually search it on YouTube. And on YouTube, there is a lot of free content, a lot of free tutorials, and I usually watch it. This is how I learned how to separate SRT files for subtitles that I can subsequently use in uploading to YouTube and Facebook and things like that. So whenever I don't know something technical like that, I usually search YouTube, and most of the time I can figure it out on my own. So I highly recommend that as your option. So let me go now into Instagram really quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I want to show you some basics here. Some most important things about Instagram and Facebook. So, Instagram is another really powerful social media platform that you can use to expand your audience online. And when it comes to Instagram, what I want to say is first, consistency is key. So, I would recommend posting at least 2 to 3 times a week. Now, Instagram is not only, I mean, again, depending on your ideal client, my ideal client are people who are actually reading my posts. I don't want to just, my ideal client is not a person who looks at a pretty picture and says, vibes, hashtag vibes. That's not my ideal person. My ideal client is a person who reads a post that engages with me, that comments on my posts, that is looking for inspiration, daily inspiration through my Instagram posts. So if you look at my Instagram post, they're pretty lengthy, right? It has a picture that I like. It has, some content that I think is valuable. And also, if you look very carefully, I always add hashtags. So what I want to say, well, right now it's not showing the hashtags for some reason, but I always add hashtags, and hashtags can be either in the post itself or they can be listed in the comments. There is a couple of things about hashtags. What is a hashtag? So if I were to look in the search bar and let's say Abraham Hicks would be my hashtag. So a hashtag is your ability to search for a particular subject, right? So Abraham Hicks says all of these manifesting and law of attraction stuff that I'm interested in. So Instagram allows you to put up to 30 hashtags to your posts. I usually go between 15 to 20. Um, Hashtags, a lot of times people just pull hashtags out of their ass. They'd write stupid stuff like sitting, doing nothing. Hashtag whatever, just dumb hashtag. And, you just like everything else, if you have a strategy around your hashtags, it will be much more effective than a dumb hashtag that you just pulled out of your ass. So let me show you something. Whoops, what just happened here? Let me just show you something. I use Airtable. So let me just show you behind the scenes what I do with my hashtags. My hashtags are not there by accident. I have an Airtable. It's similar to Google Sheets. So I like Airtable, but it can be Google Sheets. But it's just a file that I can access from anywhere in the world. So I have lots of different tabs here, right? So let's just go into Digital Dynamite. This is the hashtags that I created for Digital Dynamite. So I have 14 listed here. But the way I look for hashtags is I do some research behind each hashtag. So in the search window here, I'm going to type in hashtag course creator. Course creator has 22,000 posts. Do you see that? It's considered like a medium to small reach. So I'd literally go here, course creator. I'd copy this hashtag and I would drop it here and I put it as a medium, right? And I would go and research every single hashtag. So I would spend some time and let's say digital. I type in digital and it will give you lots of different recommendations here. So you see digital marketing has 13 million posts. That's too big for me. In other words, if my hashtag is too big, 13 million, if I made a post, my post is not going to show up in the top search here. So it'll be buried somewhere in the bottom and nobody has the patience to scroll down and look for posts at the bottom somewhere. So I usually pick hashtags related to the topic, course creation. Somewhere between, I'd say, 10,000 to 250,000 posts. I think to me, that's my preference. And as I put every hashtags here into my database, so to speak, I decide what size of the hashtag it is. Mega, which is, anything that I consider bigger than 250,000, medium, or micro, which is less than 15,000 in my book. And I also put a date, when was the last time I used that hashtag. So generally speaking, you don't want to use the same hashtags over and over again. You need to change up your hashtags every day. This is why I have this spreadsheet where I keep track of all the different hashtags that I have. There are hashtags on abundance. There is hashtags here on yoga business, because a lot of the things that I do are related to my business coaching. I do hashtags related to Taos and things like that. So in other words, I don't have to recreate hashtags every time. I have a database of all the hashtags, all the research that I made around each hashtag. I also track when I used them last, and all I need to do is just go in there and copy and paste these hashtags. Does that make sense? So it's kind of behind the scenes things that I do for my hashtags. The hashtag strategy can be really, really effective.
Can I ask a quick question, Albina?
Please.
So why do you not use the same hashtag frequently?
The reason why you don't use the same hashtag over and over again, because the algorithm, Instagram algorithm, is a very smart thing. So if you use the same hashtags over and over again, the algorithm is not going to show you in your post in front of as many people as it could. So the way the algorithm work, and like remember, the algorithm changes all the time. So the latest and greatest in the industry or in the Instagram world is that it is recommended to change up your hashtags every time. It doesn't mean that you should never use them, but like maybe once every 2 weeks. That's
Because
why.
if you're posting about the same thing every time, I mean, I change up my hashtags. I don't do all of what you do. That's amazing. I usually try find hashtags that are relevant to what I'm writing in the post.
Yeah.
Say, as a yoga business, a yoga studio owner, obviously the yoga hashtag is something that's what I'm trying to put out there. And so obviously I would be using hashtag yoga bliss, hashtag yoga, get on your mat. And I use some of those like yoga, get on your mat and do more yoga. I do use those particular two a lot because they're not the yoga hashtags that have got a million.
Yeah. So what I recommend, Annie, do some research around your hashtags, research some new hashtags, because and change them up every time, every day. Even if you use only 5 hashtags, but make sure that there's a new hashtags every day. So if you look here, let me show you something really quickly. This is how I do my research around hashtags. Let me just move this thing around a little bit so you can see better. So let's just say yoga. I'm just going to type in yoga, and there are lots of different suggestions here. Yoga poses, yoga girl, yoga practice. So all of these are here, right? So let's just say, this is a big one. So let's just say yoga outside, right? This is how I do my research. These are the top posts. So I'm going to find a person. Let's say this guy has 1,500 likes. I'm going to go into his post and look and probably comment something about that. But I'm also going to see what kind of hashtags he is using. So for some reason, I can't see, because I'm on the computer, I can't see all the hashtags that he used. But a lot of times I can see, like, look, for this girl, she's using all these hashtags, and I'm going to look and see if there are any other hashtags that I like. So I'm going to go and see the feels. What is that feels hashtag? And it'll show me that feels hashtag has 4 million. too many. So I would go and look, so I spend some time to see um, yoga teacher, let's say, for example, right? And in other words, it's a strategy. It's not just pull shit out of your ass hashtag strategy. I spend time, but the good news is my little spreadsheet, that's where I keep track of all my hashtags. And I do some research. I spend maybe 30 minutes here and there. But once I do that, I put them into my Airtable. I can use them forever, copy and paste. But I do change up the hashtags every day. I mean, you don't have to do that. It is just recommended for the algorithm to put your post in front of as many people as possible. So let me go really quickly to the next thing. So the way the Instagram works, and I've done a lot of work around Instagram research. I took lots of courses on how to grow your Instagram following. You don't just wake up with, a million followers. It takes, just like anything else in life, it takes work, it takes focus, it takes time. So the way Instagram algorithm works, the more you use Instagram features, the better. So most likely, most of you don't even know what all the features that Instagram has. So Instagram, there is IGTV, there is Instagram Live, there is Instagram Reels, there are different filters, there's music that you can put into things. So use as many Instagram features as possible. And the more you use different features on Instagram, the more the algorithm is going to put you to the front of the search. When you use Instagram stories, you can put your hashtags in the story and you can blend it in such a way and you can make it so small that it's not even visible. Now, I'm not going to show it on the computer right now because you can't go there through the browser. You can only go there through the app. But you can YouTube really quickly, and there are tons of videos and tutorials on how to do it. So if there is something that I don't know about Instagram, I usually just search YouTube and I'll learn really quickly. Or if you have a young person around, they can probably show you. So my daughters know everything about the filters. They know everything about the music. So a lot of times I just ask them to show me really quickly how to use the features on Instagram. Or if I'm desperate and they're not around, I just go on YouTube and just say, type in Instagram latest, and it will show you all the latest filters and all the latest features that they have. But as soon as the Instagram rolls out something new, I do my best to incorporate it right away, because the sooner you incorporate the new feature, the more the algorithm is going to put you to the front of the search. Do you know what I mean? So use as many features as possible. And remember, social media, the number one intent behind social media is for you to be social, right? It's not to sell your product. So every day I do my best to interact with other people. So what I do is, there is also strategy around that. So usually, so let me show you really quickly what I usually do. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you really quickly. So this is my Instagram feed, my posts on Instagram. Every post has at least 15 to 20 different hashtags. And I showed you my strategy behind the hashtags and where I keep track of all of my hashtags. There is IGTV. Right now, I think if you have under 10,000 followers, the longest your Instagram video can be is 10 minutes, although apparently not. I uploaded a 1-hour video here. So I guess you can upload now longer videos on IGTV. Like, look, the algorithm is changing every time. Instagram changes up the rules all the time. But what I also do my best is provide new content on my IGTV. And it's different This is where I get to repurpose my same content. Maybe this video I uploaded on YouTube months ago, but then like this week I'm gonna upload it to my IGTV. Do you know what I mean? And then Instagram has that option to put it into my Instagram stories as a preview. But this is another area where I provide massive value and I provide free content. I also put hashtags there as well. Now, I would also go, let's just say, the hashtags that I use, I would go, let's just say law of attraction. I'll just give you an example. So on the browser, it doesn't show recent, so that it only shows top posts. But on the app, there is an option to look at the most recent posts. So I would go under my hashtag and I would read people post. I would literally read what they say and I would comment. I would comment on their post, and if I really like what I see, I'm gonna follow them. Another powerful way to grow your Instagram is to go under this person's profile, and you see how there is a circle around their profile picture. That means that they have a story. So I'd go and look through their stories and I would comment on their stories as well and engage with them. Not only comment, but usually just ask a question so that I can interact with them, um, and either say something about their stories, say something about their posts. And a lot of times I'd ask a question so they can engage with me. So that's how I create my community. This is how I interact with other people. This is one of the strategies to grow your Instagram following. In other words, if you want people to engage with you, if you want people to sign up with your for your courses, if you want people to read your posts, you like it's a law of circulation, right? You have to give to get. So I do my best to spend at least 15 minutes a day to engage with other people on social media. So shadow banned, usually you get shadow banned is when the algorithm like literally blocks you and other people cannot see your post. You can get shadow banned usually when you sign up and you pay for services. Like there are other services that will literally they advertise to grow your followers. I'm sure you saw ads for that. And those are usually bots. They're usually fake accounts. They're just computer generated fake bots. And, it can grow your account by like 500 followers every day. Those are not real people. They're most likely bots. They're just the computer generated accounts, and the algorithm will catch you and it will shadow ban you. Technically, Instagram denies such thing. They say that shadow ban doesn't exist, but I'm pretty sure it does exist. So my suggestion is that you don't sign up for dumb things like grow your followers by 10,000 people overnight. It's fake anyway. So what I prefer is organic growth, is interacting with real people, engaging, commenting, asking them questions, genuinely like engaging with the content that they offer into the world.
Can I add something? I know people, and I've also been shadow banned before for using the same hashtags over and over again.
Exactly. Oh yes, thank you, Laura.
That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. Yeah, so Annie, did you hear that? If you use the same hashtags over and over again, Instagram will shadow ban you. In other words, they will prevent your content from being seen by other people. That's why you don't want to use the same hashtags over and over, and you won't even know that you're shadow banned.
Okay, so that was my question. How do you know that you've been shadow banned?
I can answer that.
Please go ahead, Laura.
I've done a lot of research too, and I remember when it happened to me, I was like, "What the heck?" But you know how if you have your Instagram set on like a business account, and if you check your analytics on a regular basis, you can see what your level of engagement is and how many impressions a post or a story is making or having. And if you see that your numbers are super low, that's a red flag for you to try and figure out, all right, what happened? And I went as far as going back through every hashtag and seeing, it's a lot easier if you post, you have your hashtags, and then, like wait a few minutes and then you go in and you can check like most recent posts. And if you don't see yours on there, you might be shadow banned.
So
Well,
how
shit,
did
now
you
I want to have a look.
yeah. So Laura, how did you get unshadow banned?
Time.
Yeah.
It didn't last too long, but once I figured out what had happened, it was just me being lazy. Because the hashtags are a ton of work, but you wait a few days, and I guess it also, like, if you are buying followers and you get caught, you're probably going to be shadow banned longer.
Yeah. 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 Thank you for adding that. That's
So,
another reason to change it up.
sorry, I'm muted. Yes.
Annie, we can't hear you, but I really have to move on. We only have 11 minutes left. So let me just finish what I wanted to share with you guys, and we can take the questions to the Facebook page. Like I mentioned to you guys before, the most important thing, and unfortunately I ran out of time today, but the most important thing is to clear your limiting beliefs around selling, around your offering into the world. Now, the limiting beliefs, the danger of the limiting beliefs is that most of us are completely unaware. We are unaware of our limiting beliefs. Let me just share with you some of my limiting beliefs that maybe you can recognize in you, and I'll share with you the work that I've done to clear with them. But I'll tell you, anytime I'm launching a new product, anytime I launch a new product, I glitch. Every single time fear, doubt shows up. Like this last week, guys, I spent 5 days in bed. I started rolling out my product, and then I just spent 5 days in bed because I was Netflix and chilling. And I told myself that it's because I'm PMSing. That was BS. I wasn't PMSing. I was doing that because I was numbing out so that I don't have to face my fears. Literally, now I know it. I've done it so many times that I know that if I am in bed, Netflix and chilling, it's because I am unwilling to face my fears. And it's usually around the time when I'm rolling out a new product, a new sale. At this point, I'm like, okay, get your ass up and get to work. So let me give you some examples of my own limiting beliefs that show up every single time. And I've done lots of work around it. It's daily work for me, guys. It's daily work. This is why I wake up at 4 in the morning and I just clear this stuff every single day. It's not like I do it once and it's done. It's an ongoing process for me. And I have a suspicion it would be for most people. So I never glitch around the content because I know I provide massive value. I am 100% sure that my content is golden because it changed my life. I have a lot of passion around it. I know that I provide massive value. So my glitching is not around the content. My glitching is every single time around selling, about promotion and marketing. And it's not that selling is evil or sleazy or pushing or annoying. My thing is a little bit different. Now remember how A Course in Miracles says that the moment you bring your fear into the light, you're given everything you need to clear it. And step one is naming your fear, naming your glitching, and bringing it into the light. So mine are, so my some of my limiting beliefs in the past have been selling is hard work. So literally Roger would be like, "Oh, let's just roll out this product." And because like he just gets an idea, I'm the one who makes shit happen. Like I set it all up, I create a sales page, I promote it, he just shows up and teaches it. So I kid you not, every single time it's like, oh, like I would say something around how selling is hard and how like having an idea is just like so easy. Making shit happen is a lot of work. Like every single time I'd say it and then I'm like, okay, let me take it back. So one of them is selling is hard work. And it's actually a part of my inherited legacy. It came from my mom because she always said that like you have to work hard in order to succeed in life. You have to work hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard. And somehow that my self-worth is tied in into working hard. So that's a part of my inherited legacy that I'm literally doing work every single day to clear that. Another one for me is like I have to work hard every single day and I have to make money, um, because my self-worth is so tied into that. And like, look, this is after years and years of self excavation. Like, look, I when I traveled around the world for a year with my husband and kids, this is, mind you, after selling 7 yoga studios, I did okay. Let's just say I did really well with my business. On those travels around the world, I worked every single day because somehow my self-worth is tied into working hard and earning money. So this is something that I work with every single day to clear that, so that I can step into effortless ease. I don't have to work hard every day. It's okay to chill. It's okay to celebrate my accomplishments. It's okay to win. So to me, it's everyday work. So some of my limiting beliefs around money is, there is not enough money. There is not enough clients. People will judge me, haters. People will envy me. This is also part of my inherited legacy. People will give me an evil eye if I'm successful. Another one that I'd go into is like, I don't know anything about Facebook and Instagram ads. I'm not a web developer. It is too hard. It is too complicated. I'll never learn it. The algorithm is changing all the time. I'm never going to keep up. So I work on clearing the shit every single day. I work on it every single day. It's a never ending journey for me. And I understand that I may be saying these things, and for some of you, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. The first time when I first started this work, I'm like, I don't know what people are talking about. What's the big deal? You just like sell your course. But trust me, like I said, remember, I've ran 12 businesses, you guys. This one, to me, is where I get triggered the most, because this is the area of creativity. This is me being in my most vulnerable self, and this is where a lot of my glitches shows up. Nowhere in any of my other businesses does this shit show up like it does here. So I'm not saying it will be like that, but if it does show up to you, just know that you're not alone, that it is normal. It's actually very common that your insecurities and your fears pop up, especially around your creative work. So the things that I do to clear it is I meditate, I pray, I journal, I surrender. I do the tapping that I taught you. I do like everything that I know, everything that I taught you in all of these courses in the 300-hour teacher training. I use all of them here. Any questions? All right. So let us then close with a meditation. Let us close with a meditation. So close your eyes here and simply take a deep, nourishing, feel good breath. And exhale it all out. Inhale, fill up your belly, your pelvis with breath. Exhale, relax your belly, relax the bottom of your pelvis. Inhale across your shoulders. And exhale, relax your shoulders, relax your throat, relax the backs of your eyes. And as you breathe deeply right now, I invite you to step into trusting the process. Trust that you've been guided to this course for a reason. Trust that you're on the right path. And even though it may seem like all of this stuff is too overwhelming, too complicated, too hard, take a deep breath and acknowledge if any of those thoughts have popped up. It's okay. It's normal to feel overwhelmed. It's normal to feel stressed out a little bit. And just know that you start with the first step, one step at a time. You can learn this. I learned this. I didn't know anything about anything, and I learned this. You can learn too. If you take a deep breath and just take it one step at a time, you will get to your destination, your dream, your desire, your goal. And you have this course that you can go back to the recordings and watch them over and over and over again until you feel comfortable. And one day it becomes effortless ease. It becomes easier and easier the more you do it, just like when you lift weights. Your biceps get stronger with every day. The more you lift, the stronger your muscles get. Or like with yoga, the more you do those chaturangas, the stronger your arms and your shoulders get. It's the same with this process. Take a deep breath and just connect to that yearning, your passion on the inside. Trust that you're being guided. Trust that you're being led. Trust that you can create with effortless ease. Trust that you have so much to offer to the world that you can help others. You can touch people's lives. You can change people's lives. And open your eyes. And what I want to leave you with, I'm going to add some questions that I invite you to journal on. And those are the questions that will help you identify what is it that you want to bring into the world. And the very first thing that you start with is, what are you really great with it? This is how we started this course. What are you good at? What comes to you really easily? Remember, the very first course that I rolled out was the Rockstar Yoga Studio owner course. This is the stuff that came very naturally to me. Running a yoga business was something that I can do in my sleep. This is what I'm really good at. And that's how I started. I rolled out my first course and was sharing everything I know about running a yoga business. So those journaling questions, what is your higher purpose? How do you want to touch other people's lives? I highly encourage you to spend some time to journal on those questions. Journal on those questions around your ideal client. Once you do the background, like the foundational work, everything else will start unfolding with effortless ease. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for really asking really great questions. Thank you for your time. I love you. Good luck. You can do it. You can do it with effortless ease. And you can create financial freedom doing this